I'm Aaron with Core Landscape. We've been getting a lot of calls about these irrigation timers and people getting frustrated with them, so we're just going to break it down pretty easy for you on these series of videos so you can really see the functions of them and how easy they really are to use. In this video, we're going to program the Rain Dial RD600 controller made by Irritrol. When you open the faceplate of this controller, there's a key on the right hand side that you have to make half a turn against the house, and then you can pop the lid open from the halfway point right here. When you're looking at the standard display, you'll see the program switch up top on the left, some dials on the right, and then a switch in the bottom. This controller is very important that the switch at the bottom is all the way to the right on runner manual, and the center arrow is pointed at current time. If these two things don't occur, the controller likely won't run the settings that you've programmed into it. Anytime that you're entering the programming mode, you'll take the switch at the bottom and put it in the center between off or stop and between runner manual, right in the center. When you're in this position, it's ready to be programmed. On the top left, the programming switch, I'll leave it on A. You do have 3 programs available in case you want to divide the zones and run the grass on a certain interval and run your shrubs or your garden on a separate interval. You'd use these separate programs to be able to divide the intervals. For this video, I'll just utilize program A. The first change that we're going to make is on the right hand side, you'll see station run times, and each number represents the amount of zones you could potentially have with this controller. For this video, I'll pretend we just have one zone that we're going to program. So when the switch is in the center and this arrow is on station 1, you'll see it's off because we haven't programmed any time into this zone. Let's program 10 minutes into it. You'll hold the plus key up at the top and scroll through until you get to 10 minutes. Once you've gotten to 10 minutes, if you're to scroll to any other zones to program them, you'll see that they're off until you add values to them. But station 1 says 10 minutes because it saves everything you do the minute you put the change in. The next section on this controller is the start times. Now you'll see that you have options for start times 1, 2, and 3. The reason you'd have 3 different start time options is if you had a garden or something that needed to be watered more than once a day, you could set your first start time for the morning, your second start time for the afternoon, and your third start time for the evening. For this video, I'll just program start time number 1. You'll follow the same principles that you did on the runtime and hold this up arrow. Now this controller, every time it gets to the 6 o'clock interval, gives you the option to turn it off. So you'll see I'm at 5:39 a.m. If I keep holding this and go up to 6, it gives me the off option. Now if I want to go past that and I want to program it for 6 a.m., I'll just hit this plus key one more time. Now it's at 6 a.m. I just want you to know that you can get to the 6 o'clock interval or 12 o'clock interval to be given the option to turn it off. So we'll leave it at 6 a.m. Again, this controller remembers everything you put into it. The last setting that will change is the schedule, what days of the week we want it to run. So each day here, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, etc., are all going to show as on. As you scroll up, they'll all be on. If you wanted a day to be off, you'll just hit the minus key. So we're on Sunday, it says on, we want it to be off, hit the minus key. You want it to be back on, hit the plus key. The only other function with this controller is this function right next to start time 1. It's called skip days. It says off. If you want this controller to run on an interval schedule, for example, every other day or every 3rd day, you'll use this function as skip days, hit the plus key, and you can say once every 3 days, once every 4 days, once every 2 days, however much you want it to run. This will not regard the days of the week here, it'll just function on this schedule here. Now once you have all your settings, again, it's important to remember that the arrow's on current time and the switch at the bottom is all the way to runner manual. If you want to turn this controller off for a rain delay or for some other reason, you'll flip this switch all the way to the left to off or stop. Just make sure that you put it all the way to the right to runner manual when you're ready for it to go back to automatic operation. Thanks for joining us on these videos. We have a PDF link and a hyperlink with more information about the controllers if you want to dive any more in depth on them. And of course, we're always happy to help. So if you guys have any questions above and beyond these, reach out to us at the office, 602-525-2606. Thanks.